Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos.
Every 90 days, we need to come revisit this. So, okay, should we do an intro as to what we're talking about and then actually talk about it? Because I feel like we just got into it and then we didn't. They're going to be like, what are
We really
they talking
are
about?
the worst. Every time I go to edit an episode, I was like, we really just dove right into this.
Right,
Like,
and that's why I kind of liked the timeline that the outline ChatGPT spit out, because it literally was like, don't forget to introduce, and I was like, yeah, we never do that.
we never do that. But I don't know. It's like real life, authentic, and a little chaotic, which is
Right?
who we are as humans. So I think it's
Absolutely.
beautiful. But yes, so today we are recapping a business planning session that we did with the president of Real yesterday, Sharon, and he'll tell you that the only thing that means, if him being president of Real, is that he works for us. So we do love his trainings. He talks so fast, he gets right to the point, and he's full of so much information. It's amazing.
Yep.
And he was a real estate agent himself. He had his own brokerage for several years. So he just has a lot of inside information into what we look for in our business planning, in our day to day lives, because he's lived it. So I think that was a really big part of being able to connect with what he was saying, because he's been here and done this several times.
Yeah, and and he jokes that, like, he was retired. He didn't have to come back to work, but he
Mm-hmm.
loves what he does. So it was pretty easy for when Tamir told him our structure and things for him to come out of retirement. Um, I even had agents that I invited to the call yesterday who are not in our firm, because these calls are open to anyone. And they were texting me before or during and after, and were like, this is amazing. Can I watch it again? And I was like, well, unfortunately, the replays are only for agents in the firm, but join our call tomorrow. But they were like,
Mm-hmm.
this is phenomenal. Like, we don't get this where we are. And so it was really nice and refreshing to hear that from agents, because I was like, I know I'm excited about it. I know I love it. But does anyone else like ever? Am I just like a weirdo who's like in the cult, as some people would say? But I'm not in a cult. So what I really liked, and Heather and I, my team lead and I, have been talking about this a little bit lately, is it starts with your purpose. And I think something that a lot of business plans forget is this is personal. There's a reason we've all become entrepreneurs or gotten into real estate, or even if you're not, even if you're listening to this and you're thinking of getting into real estate, there's a reason you're staying at your 9 to 5 right now. And so, one of the things I like to do, and I'm just going to add this in here, and this is one of the most effective ways someone helped me. Like, if you don't know what your purpose is, because you could say, oh, it's my kids, oh, it's this. Um, Write your obituary. Write it for what it would say now. And then that is a great way to go, oh crap, that is not what I want people to think of me when I die. Like, mine would not show the accomplishments that I want to have. And then write what you want it to be so that you can work backwards. And that's what I loved about him starting with your purpose. Why are you doing all of this? Because I think your why is very important. If you don't have a why, you're not going to be able to build out goals, because you have nothing that you're building towards. What do you think, Brenna?
So I think the problem, and it's not really a problem with a why. I feel like people just get so generic with it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have a better life for my kids. I want to go on vacation 4 times a year. Whatever the case may be. And honestly, like, a why, I still struggle because, and not struggle now. Originally, I oh crap.
Are you going to
I'm
cry?
going to I'm going to
It's
get
okay.
emotional
It's okay.
because my why is very selfish.
Hey, but your why is supposed to be selfish. It's
um
your why. It's not anyone
It
else's.
is. I mean, it trickle down effects to everyone in my life, of course, but like what I do is for me. Like, there's things that, you know, have happened in my life that I is a constant like struggle. you know? And it's a day to day. I want to be happy with who I am. I want to be happy with my success. I want to be happy with things that I have. So when I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I want to do this because I want the kids to be able to do all the sports that they want to do, or I want to be able to go on vacation with Travis. And it just, the first couple of years, it's like, yeah, I mean, because that's what I'm supposed to want that. I'm supposed to want this for my family and for their future. And I think it was probably just about 2 years ago that I was like, that's not, it's not what drives me. It's kind of selfish. Like, I want this for me in return. When I'm a better person and I'm happy with who I am and where I am in life, then that, the cup overflows, right? And then my kids get that better me and my husband gets that better me. But if I'm just like constantly like, no, I have to do this because it's for the kids, I just get burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably not good to say out loud,
No,
but
no, that is I think that is something. So standing on the outside of momhood, because I'm not a mom, I never will be a mom, and I'm okay with that. For the world, if you're listening, we're not going to change my mind. I haven't wanted ever to be a mother. I'm perfectly fine with being an aunt, but I see so many women, so many parents, that the kids become the priority, the only priority, and they stop taking care of themselves or stop taking care of their relationships, and their world falls apart because A, they're exhausted, and B, they're not nurturing the other important things in their lives. So for you to sit here and say, no, I'm important too, is massive. Like, you have to take care of yourself. There's two lines that I give to people when they're struggling. And in this situation, I tell them, when you're on an airplane and they say, if it crashes and the oxygen masks come down, put your oxygen mask on first. Because if you don't, you're gonna suffocate and you're not gonna be able to help anyone else. It's the truth in not real. I mean, a plane crash is real life too, but in your
right,
every right. I
very
hope that
real.
never happens. But in your everyday life, if you're not taking care of yourself, you will not be able to effectively take care of the other people and things that are important in your life. So, you have to put your oxygen mask on first, and I think saying that is really important.
I think the part that I loved specifically about this part at the in the call was that it wasn't a you need one thing, right? What is your why? And because it is a multifaceted thing. What I want in my personal life is very different than what numbers I want to see in my business at the end of the year, you know? So he broke it down into those four areas. So it was like personal,
It's
yeah,
me,
me, family,
team, and
team,
legacy.
and legacy. So for me, I don't have a team. So you tweak it a little bit, you know what I mean? But I feel like it's very important to kind of like separate yourself from like what you want for your family and what you want for yourself. Because just see the tail. I just see her tail just because I feel like that's easier for you to work for
Right.
because it's not just a blind like one end goal. Like, you're working to be have a positive impact in your own personal life and be there to support your family, your team, your business, and they can all be very different. His the notes that he wrote down, because he went through the plan like in his perspective kind of thing, are massively different.
Right.
So I think that that's hugely important.
I think the one thing that really spoke to me was like his goals for his family weren't necessarily, I want to move to Tahiti, or what you would think of a billionaire, because he's going to be a billionaire if he's not already. It was like, I want more time with them. I want
Yeah,
a certain number of
massive
vacations.
memories. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's realistic for anyone. And I think the team thing, like, I am on a team, but I didn't see it as like me being a team leader for that goal. For me, it was, I mean, if we're transparent about what firm we're with, my team would be the agents that I'm attracting. Like,
Hmm.
what do I want for them? And it's very similar to what I want. Let me move some cat feet so I can read it. Um, is that I want them to be able to build their wealth with opportunities. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
want them to know that that option is here if that's what you want, because that's important to me too. So here's the next step in this business plan that he gave us was obviously you need to identify your purpose. Then you can build backwards from there. Like I said, if you don't know what your purpose is, write out your obituary for what it is now and then write it out for what you want it to say. That has been the most eye opening for me because I went, oh shit, I've got a long way to go. So then the next part is the 3190. And the 3190 is a 3-year vision, a 1-year target, and a 90-day action plan. And I don't know
Which
if y'all have listened to our previous episode, but this
I
sounds
was just
very
gonna say.
similar to the technique that Brenna and I use for building out our goals. We use the 12-week year. 12 weeks is about 90 days. And again, everything in here again is broken down into this actually moves it into 5 areas. So it's your
Mm-hmm.
health, your brand, your relationships, your income, and your wealth because your income and your wealth are 2 different things. Um Income is what you're making annually, and wealth is what you're maintaining. Is it is who is there's a quote from Dr. Dre, and this is where
We
I
live a
love this
Dr.
quote.
Dre moment.
I literally keep it on a post-it note on my desk. And it is making $1 million is easy. Keeping $1 million is not easy.
Yeah.
And that I think if you're trying to figure out the difference between income and wealth, that's the difference right there. Income is what you're making, wealth is what you're maintaining.
Yeah, there were some questions about that in the call too, and he's like, we just have to think about it like short term and long term. Income is what's coming into your pocket, like what you're using to pay your bills, like the end of the year kind of thing, and then wealth is over time, like
Right.
that's your future plan.
Right. Like his thing was he wanted a certain amount in liquid assets.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense because you can have assets that aren't liquid.
Mm-hmm.
You could own, I mean, I guess a yacht could be liquid because technically you can sell it, but
Mm-hmm.
that could take a while. A house could be liquid, but again, that could take a while. So liquid to me means money in the bank or stocks that I could instantly offload.
Cash
Yeah,
out,
and
yeah.
cash out. So, and again, we break this down in a 3-year vision. So, I'll give one of my examples. For my brand, I want to be the top realtor in Belmont and Gaston County. I want everyone, and even if it's not top with the number of houses sold, I want to be the person everyone knows. So,
Mm-hmm.
my 1-year target is I want 2 listings in this neighborhood that I farm because there's an agent in there who hates me. Um, and I want 2. He can have the rest of them. I just want 2 because that to me signifies okay, here we go. We're headed towards that 3-year vision of being the person everyone knows. My 90-day action is to get together with the insurance agent and the mortgage broker that I market with in that neighborhood and say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're stepping this up. And so I just wrote their names in here. I don't know what our specific 90-day action plan is yet, but it's going to involve them. So as we were just going over this quickly yesterday, I was like, that's my 90-day action plan.
Yeah, as I was scribbling notes, I was like, so it turns out I'm going to have to print multiple copies of this.
Right. Yes. This is something I am going to have to work through. And if you guys are listening to this and you want a copy, email us. What's our email? Contractsandchaos at
And
gmail.com.
that's
So
correct.
email us and we will get you a copy of this PDF. Just
It
put,
is a one-page business plan.
yeah.
I mean, it is double-sided, but technically it is one page.
Right.
So,
And again, it's not just business, like it's personal goals. And this doesn't even if you're listening to this and you're not a realtor for some reason and you're like, I need a plan. I need to figure out how to achieve my goals. You could take this and make it all completely personal. You could take it and
there's
make it all
nothing
business.
on this sheet about okay, so the back side it has like transaction goal, but again, like if you're in the hair industry or I mean anything like that, the same values, the same concept applies I think to every business out there.
Right, right. And or even personal goals. Like maybe it's like you want to beat a health condition, that is reversible. Okay, put that in here. That you can do that. Did you have one that you wrote down like brand or relationships or income or wealth or health or anything you want to share? Not yet.
No, I was driving.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I you want to know a funny one?
Yeah.
My 3-year vision is to be engaged or married.
What? You can't laugh at that. It's serious. We're manifesting that shit. I need you to just think about it with confidence. You
Right.
can't
Um
cackle.
I just it's like one of those things where it's like so much of that goal is under the power of the universe, you know? Like I can't
Right.
control all of it. But I can look at things. So if y'all are listening, I can control things like so my 1 year target for that was a solid relationship. Like I want to be in something that is a relationship with a title.
Hmm.
Um so how do I do that? Like how do I what are the parts of that outside the control of the universe that I can control? Well,
So your 90-day action plan involves Tinder? Is that what you're telling me?
that's where my sister met her husband.
Listen, those are my sister-in-law. Actually, my sister-in-law met her fiance on Plenty of Fish. So,
Yeah. But back to my point, you can use this outline, this structure for any type of goal you want. I love the 30 or the 3-1-90. It's very similar to the 12-week year that we use. I think this puts more emphasis on the long term than the 12-week year does because it makes you say, okay, this is what I want and let's break it down some more. So then the next step is the force multipliers.
yes.
So the force multipliers is where you're sowing the seeds of an amazing future. It's the things you can do in your life that if you did this one thing, it makes everything easier. Um so for being the top agent in Belmont, mine would be social media, and I put a couple in here cuz again, I was just working through this. I'm going to have to go back and narrow this down. But a social media presence like having a Belmont or Gaston County focused social media group. Someone, I don't remember if it was that call or another one, said, actually, I think this is there was one where, this is our next episode. That's why it's all bleeding together in my brain. You don't even have to start your own group on social media. It could just be constantly be the person commenting the positive things in those community groups that already exist. People pay
Right.
attention, they start to recognize your name. So that might be, if finances or time were an issue for me on this one, that's what I would do is just focus on that. Um, or it could be open houses in that community. Like I'm gonna start scrubbing our firm's listings in that county, in that neighborhood, and being like, hey, can I do your open house? Hey, because again, it gets my presence out there. People know me.
Like, so I think it's James Clear with Atomic Habits, where it's like 1% better, right? Like,
Yes.
instead of trying to make this massive change immediately, like, start implementing, like you said, into those Facebook groups that already exist. Like, comment on 10 posts and don't just say hey or haha, or be of value and insight into those groups. 10 posts a day and then make it 25. And then, as like you said, as people start to recognize you, your name, your profile picture, then you're just a face in the community. You're not a stranger online.
Right, exactly. Like even like I've started being more active on the Nextdoor app. So like someone the other day was like, I'm moving, I need boxes. Well, I have a bunch of boxes I need to take to the recycling center. So I just commented, I was like, hey, come and get them. Like DM me, I'll send you my address. You can come have them. Like
Hmm.
even things like that. It doesn't have to be job related, but people are going to start recognizing that that's who I am. So build the list, serve the list. This is a focus on it could be social media, it could be contacts in your CRM, it can be other things like it could be I don't know how you would measure it other than social media. I'm trying to think of an example.
An email list, a database,
Yeah, or
your personal
events. Like
contacts.
it could also be like, hey, I'm not involved in any community groups or any community feedback. So I want to get involved, say, with sponsoring the schools. Okay, so I currently sponsor one school for Teacher of the Month. I want two schools by the end of next year. So I could put that as building your community. And again, you break that out in the categories for how you're going to do that.
And then the bottom of that first sheet, it goes into the monthly focus areas.
I
So for
loved this.
you and me, I know that for us, like, we're very visual people, and catch me color coding this because I will. But it's very simple. January through December just has a spot for each month that you can go ahead and say, all right, so which action item am I plugging into which month? Like that is my deadline, because Alyssa's favorite thing to say is a goal without a plan is just a dream. Is
Yes.
that what you say?
I
A
was like,
goal
what are
without
you?
a
I
plan
got a
is
lot of
just a
favorite
dream.
things, but I don't know which one you're going to pick right now.
Every time we have an episode, I swear it's in there at least once. A goal without a plan is just a dream. So being accountable, whether it's to somebody else or to yourself, like make many promises to yourself and then keep them, right? So if you say that you're going to host that garage sale for your community in May, you better not do it in July.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
it's just as simple as that. Your brain is like, oh well, we got it done, but we didn't do it like we said we were going to do it, or when we said we were going to do it. And then that's when we start to see a little bit slack and things get spread out and the urgency isn't there. If you create a sense of urgency, it will get done. That's the whole purpose, I feel like, behind the 12-week year, because instead of just looking at that year end goal, it kind of lights a fire under you, because you only have 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Not 53 or 52. You have 12
I was going to say,
to
there's
get this done.
53 weeks. Since when is there 53 weeks?
There isn't.
But yeah, no, I also like in this monthly focus area that, I mean, obviously you can build on it, but it gives you hey, if I focus on getting a buyer webinar off the ground, like say you've wanted to run a buyer webinar every month and you've just never done it. Okay, well, for February or whatever month, make that your thing. Get into the routine of it.
Yeah, and something else that he said too, if you want to do great things, you need to do fewer things. So the point of picking that one item for each month is because you don't want to dilute your focus and your productivity. So if you're adding, I want to do that buyer seminar in February, and actually, you know what, I'm going to throw a Galentine's lunch for the girls that are local to me, like add 4 things into February, and then suddenly your focus is spread across 4 items.
Right.
So everybody will say multitasking, but there's honestly no such thing.
No.
And so many people will tell you that you can do several things at once, but you can't do them well.
Right. And I will tell you, I did that in my life. So for a very long time, I was coaching CrossFit, which has been on my bucket list of things to say I've been able to do since I started CrossFit. And I was getting up at 4 a.m. I was at the gym by 5, coaching till 7, coming home, and quite frankly, some mornings taking a nap because I was exhausted. And I finally, there was this whole thing last fall or this fall about me. Everything kept coming up the number 9, which triple nines in angel numbers, if you believe in this stuff, means letting go of what no longer serves you. And I just said, I'm done, because I realized that being exhausted on coaching days meant I wasn't in my business as much. And so I wasn't hitting the success targets I wanted to hit. And it was scary because I'll be honest with you, when COVID hit, at one point, this $20 a class of coaching money was the only income I had coming in. And I've held on to that for a while as an oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like, what if I don't sell a house? At least I'll have a couple $100 this month. I let it go, and my business has blown up because I've actually had the time and the energy to be in my business. Now, I'm not saying go quit a job if that's the only income you have, but you need to be selective about where your energy goes. And I think that focus on the monthly focus areas helps with that. And that's just my example of yeah, it does, because I quit one thing and focused on what I wanted to actually take off. And because I wasn't being a great CrossFit coach anymore. I wasn't as in tune with that. I was rolling in at the last minute, not prepared, not looking at the workouts the night before or thinking of warm-ups the night before, because I was just I was spread too thin. And now I'm focused, and literally 3 weeks after, that's when I got the big contract or big house under contract. So
the universe works in mysterious ways.
It does. It does.
The second part of the sheet goes into more, we've all done this, especially
right.
in real estate, the transaction number, divide it back by the month, the week, however many contacts you did a day. We've all done it 1,700 times in 14 different colors.
Right. And there's different ways to do it. The way I've done it personally, and I have it hanging on the wall in front of me, is I have written out my budget as just what I have to survive, to pay the bills, to keep the ship upright and floating, and then what I want my life to actually look like. And I've broken
Mm-hmm.
I've broken those numbers down so I know my minimum goal for the year. And that's what I did on this too. Like I have my minimum and then what I want, what I truly want. Um, and if you haven't done this, this definitely helps. And the one thing I always, as a new agent, if you're listening to this as a new agent, they're like, you have to figure out how many conversations and what's your conversion rate. And I never knew. I don't fucking know. Like, if you're not doing it, you don't know, right?
Key takeaway in a conversation like that is they say you have to do 5 to 10 contacts a day, right? Every day. The point is to be consistent because
Yes.
there's some that you'll have conversations a day, and then the next day you're at an event and you have 23, you know? The point is to be in your business all of the time. Show up and not just show up one day a week and then wonder why we're not closing the goals that you want to. But really putting some focus and effort behind what you are looking to accomplish. And then my favorite part on this sheet, and I missed the anchor part on the bottom, so you'll have to do that one for me. But the commitments, we just talked about this, like the commitments to yourself, to the others, like what is your ritual or habit or just routine that you're going to implement in each of those 5 areas, your life, your family, your brand, those kinds of things. And he was like, what was one of his? He was going to do brunch every weekend.
Yep.
You know what I mean? With his family, spend time with his family. We were going to do brunch every weekend and things like that. And I think that those are very easy action items. Again, just to keep us moving and keeping us accountable to the end goal.
Okay. So anchors are my thing. So anchors are the things that when you remind yourself of this, it helps you focus and believe in the bigger and better future. So the two examples he gave were for himself is be where your feet are. And he said this at Rise too, and I think it's kind of his like it's his version of a dream without a plan or a goal without a plan is just a dream. It's what he always says. And it's be where your feet are. So if you're here, be here. Be focused on where you are and what you're currently doing. If you're here, whether it's personal or business, but you're daydreaming about something else, or if you're with your family and your attention is actually on a work thing, then you're not actually focused on what is supposed to be your focus at that point. Um, to be where your feet are. His one for his team was focus is greater than intelligence, which I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I could be wicked smart, but if I'm not focused on what I'm doing or what I want, then the intelligence in that situation doesn't matter because I'm not going to achieve it. Because back to our other thing, or past what we said, like the monthly focus areas, if you're spread too thin, then you're not going to get what you want because you're focused in too many places at once. So that was his example. So those are things that when you remind yourself of it, it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like your daily mantra or your personal mantra of what is your saying, what is your thing that snaps you back into reality, back into that focus to make sure you stay on track to get where you want to be. So his were be where your feet are and focus is greater than intelligence.
The end. Wow, that was good. That was a
Yeah,
good one.
I love this one. I
I
really
don't think
like
we need
this.
to add any more to that.
No, like I feel like if we do, it'll get messy.
Messy. Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. There is one thing. Sorry. There were three things he said to do next. Print
Okay.
this,
Uh-huh.
hang it on your wall. Make it
Yeah.
like in your office where you see it every day. So don't print it two-sided like I did because you're going to want to see each side. Um the things that are recurring on this, the things that are, you know, daily activities, weekly activities, put it in your calendar, time block it. Um And then also, if there are things where like, I don't know how to do this, I don't have the time to do this, or I'm not the best person to do this, ask yourself who and delegate that help. Find the resources you need to make it happen. So if social media editing, video editing is not your thing, you can film the content, pay someone to do it for you. If handwritten notes aren't your thing, I saw a tip from someone, find like the stay-at-home mom in the neighborhood and pay her a certain amount per card to write those out for you. Like just tell her what you want them to say and what addresses. Um, so make sure like once you've written this out, do those three things to help you implement this.
That's how we reach our goals, right, Alyssa?
Yeah, that's how we do it. Yep.
This
Yep,
is
yep,
how
yep.
we do it. Well, we will be back again next week on Tuesday.
Yes.
If you are on Spotify or any of those platforms like that, do follow the podcast. That's super helpful for us, and review it. We would greatly appreciate it. Share with a friend. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a real estate agent. I feel like we talk about some things that are also helpful in just business,
Yes.
period. So, but share away. We love to hear your comments and feedback, and email us if you want a copy of the double-sided one-page business plan.
Yes. Yes. I think it's great. Honestly, even if you're not a realtor yet, or personal life, this is a great way to structure your plans for the year, your goals for the year.
All right, well, we'll catch you next time, guys.
Bye.